How's it going, everyone? We had the official release of Helldivers 2 this morning, and we've got some good news and some bad news. Now, right off the top, the game is doing very, very well from a concurrent player-based standpoint. I know the general thing now is to compare every game to Palworld, because Palworld was very much in the news cycle for breaking records in terms of concurrent players. Nobody ever expected Helldivers 2 to do that, and I think it's more apropos to assess it, relative to some of the other games that were released, because I didn't think that this game was gonna do as well as it could have based on the fact that there were so many games coming out at around the same time. So we'll talk about the concurrent player count. We'll also talk about some of the bad news with the game as far as the PC versions go, some of the matchmaking, server issues, things like that. Very, very typical day one live service multiplayer game issues, which is just absolutely unfortunate to see. They gotta fix this ASAP, because right now the Steam user reception is sitting at a mixed reception, and if you read through the issues, it's mostly fixable things. There's one nugget that is super unfortunate, but we'll talk all about it. Now, before we get into this video, I just want to ask you guys, please like this video and do leave a comment with your thoughts. It really does help out the channel a lot, and it is much appreciated. But first of all, I do want to mention that the game is officially out. It dropped at 4 a.m. Eastern time last night. I was fast asleep at that point, but I do want to note, if you have yet to buy the game, Helldivers 2 is down to $34 and change over at our good friends at Green Man Gaming. Just utilize the code FEB17 and you'll get the game a little bit cheaper. You'll get a Steam code and you'll be good to go to download the game. But let's talk about the game. Right now, as I'm recording this video, and this number is going to greatly fluctuate over the next 48 hours, the concurrent player count is 63,695. Guys, that's a very, very healthy number, and I would have to think that that number is going to go up given the fact that this game did have a 4 a.m. launch. It is 9 a.m. as I'm recording this video. Most people are at work. Most people might be sleeping still. I don't know. Some people sleeping a little bit late. But yeah, most people are not playing the game. Unlike some of the other releases as well, Helldivers 2 is very much a Western-focused release. For an audience that's living in the States, the majority of them are at work, and I'm curious to see where this game peaks at, not only later today, but also tomorrow morning as people are off from work. But 64,000 is a really healthy number to start with, especially for a game that I did believe had a fumbled bag as far as marketing goes for a long time. Stuff like the PlayStation Showcase being fumbled, where they prioritize fair game over this game, and so on and so forth. But word of mouth has really picked up for this game over the last few weeks, and what have I always said, or what have I been saying a lot in recent videos, that word of mouth is the most powerful promotional vehicle in a video game in the year 2024. It is unmatched. It beats out any marketing budget you could possibly have, and we just saw Palworld essentially pop off from word of mouth alone. But obviously this isn't going to do that big, but 64,000 is a really healthy number to start off with on Steam. To give you guys a comparison point, some of the bigger recent releases, Persona 3 Reload and Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth peaked at around the mid 40,000 range. Grand Blue Fantasy Relink did peak at over 100,000 players, but it was hovering around 60,000 players for a while, and then it picked up even more, cracked 100,000. That could happen with Helldivers 2 if the issues do get rectified as well. But right now, 60,000 and change, that's a healthy number to stay at. But what do we always talk about live service games, guys, and multiplayer-oriented games like this? You gotta have player sustainability. Now, thankfully, this game does also have cross-platform play, so really, me saying 66,000 players, that's only the PC and the Steam release. Obviously, that number is going to be a little bit bigger when you look across the board to the PlayStation audience as well. So that'll keep the player base healthier for longer. But there are some issues attached to the game right now that are going to prevent people from wanting to check it out, and a lot of these issues are fixable. There are some server issues where people are getting shut down from servers, and multiplayer matches are being break. Now, crossplay is actually a big reason for that. Apparently, disabling crossplay is going to limit the amount of multiplayer matches breaking. I gotta test that out myself, but obviously, you gotta get that fixed. Like, crossplay is a big element for this game, and crossplay for a multiplayer game in general, that's a big thing you want to have. That can be an issue for a little bit, but by the time we get to the end of the day, that should be fixed up, and hopefully they have a hot fix for that, but that's gotta be rectified immediately. There's some other issues as far as the game crashing again. PC performance issues is something that we see a lot of in games. It's gotta be fixed immediately, and you don't want to have issues like this hampering the reception of the game. I've also heard there being some bugs with AMD graphics cards, so that's really unfortunate. And then also the big one that you're seeing a lot of people go back to as far as the negative reception for this game is the kernel level anti-cheat in Protect a Game Guard. It has kernel level anti-cheat, and that has kernel access to your PC, meaning it can go through all of your files and control your hardware, and some reported that even after installing their games, they can't get rid of the anti-cheat and it still lurks on their PC. Kernel level means that it has really deep access into your PC. It can go through all your files and control your hardware. How much you want to put stock into that in terms of anti-cheat and allowing access to that degree to your PC, I'll let you guys be the judge of that. That's obviously going to vary person to person. Some people are obviously going to push back on anti-cheat like that, and I can certainly understand why. Kernel level anything is a little bit concerning, and that's something that should have been really clarified ahead of release, and they should have made abundantly clear what the anti-cheat was going to be in this game. I hate stuff like certain anti-cheat, I hate stuff like DRM, but if you're gonna have it in games, you have to make it abundantly clear. We've seen it a lot with PC games recently where, hey guys, we're just adding to Nouveau DRM last minute right before release. I believe Suicide Squad just had that as well. Like, come on, man. Be a little bit transparent with your audience. Let us know abundantly. Have it listed on the Steam page. Have it listed in the descriptions. Have it, you know, as a disclaimer, so on and so forth. You gotta have that promoted. Maybe they mentioned it before. They probably did. I would imagine they mentioned it before, but come on, you should really have that right directly on the Steam page where it's super clear for everybody to see what you're utilizing as far as that's concerned. But again, a lot of people are reporting crashes, a lot of people are reporting multiplayer bugs with cross-platform play. When it comes to the actual mixed reception on Steam, none of it seems to be directed at the game quality itself. It seems like generally speaking, most people are enjoying the game from a game quality standpoint, and that's really a big issue when it comes to releasing quality PC games, and it's these other factors that do hamper the game. Performance, anti-cheat nonsense, matchmaking not being up to par, which is something we had talked a lot about, where there were going to be server issues or matchmaking issues and people were worried about that. It seems like that's a regular thing in gaming, at least with when Palworld came out. It did have some server issues, but Palworld was a game that you could really play offline, at least for the interim. And when they got the online stuff figured out, you could jump back in online. Helldivers too, like, you want to play this game with a squad of people, and you might have a squad or friends that are on PlayStation 5, some are on PC. You want to do your cross-platform play. You don't really want to disable that at this point, but, you know, right now, the game is off to a really hot start in terms of concurrent player count. 64,000 is a healthy number, and I believe it puts it at number 4 or number 5 as far as PlayStation PC releases go. It was the top selling paid game on Steam. Again, that's a very impressive stat, especially for a game that didn't have a huge marketing push. It really got pushed via word of mouth over the last week or two, and let's just see where it sustains. I think if they get a lot of the issues fixed up, that number can grow. It certainly can grow, and later in the day, I think that number will go up and up, but I'm telling you, the word of mouth and the narrative attached to this game, at least for today, would be a lot different if it didn't have issues that were easily fixable in terms of performance issues, crashing issues. I get it, sometimes developers say they have to unleash the game to the public, and then they let the public give feedback, and then they can start working on fixes. I understand that, but if you could have gotten away with that and this game was, let's say, sitting at a very positive reception, I really think that Steam reception means so much, and you don't want to be sitting at mixed. So Palworld, for its entirety of release, was sitting at very positive. It's now at 94%, and just because it's at mixed now doesn't mean it can't greatly change in the future. Grand Blue Fantasy Relink a little while ago was at mixed right when it came out, and then ultimately it's now sitting at very positive. It's easy to turn it around, especially when you're talking about the early reception, but you don't want to start on mix because, again, what is Helldivers 2's main promotional vehicle? It has been word of mouth. Word of mouth causes people to look at the Steam page and then look through the reviews because they hadn't known about the game that much prior to hearing about it, and then if they read the mixed reviews, that is really going to push a lot of people away, especially when you're talking about stuff like the kernel level anti-cheat. Like, that's a big problem, and that is 100% going to push people away. But I still hope that the game will find an audience and it'll do fairly well. Again, it's doing fairly well right now. 60,000 players cannot be scoffed at. Let's see how it goes for the rest of today. And also, again, when we talk about a game like this, it is the long term in terms of longevity. But I think there's going to be a lot of fun that people get out of the game. And a lot of these issues, if you're playing on PlayStation 5, completely alleviated as well. well, crossplay being an issue, definitely. They need to get that fixed. But as far as performance issues go with specific hardware and anti-cheat and things of that nature, that's not going to be as big of an issue, of course, on PlayStation 5. Performance issues can be there on PlayStation 5, but it's going to be relatively consistent and hopefully not too many crashes on consoles. But that's going to do it for me. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Again, this is still early on. The game's been out for a couple hours. Give Arrowhead some time, and hopefully they can get a lot of these issues fixed up. It's one thing, when Suicide Squad came out, they offered early access to the game for $100, and then the game shut down its online servers. Like, this is a $40 game, it's still working. It's nowhere near that level of a disaster. Not to crap on Suicide Squad again. I know some of you guys enjoyed that game, but nonetheless, that'll do it for me. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.